Hey guys, what's up? It's Sean, Autotopia LA. You might have remembered in a recent episode we got to shoot the Ice Charger, and then shortly after that we got to shoot my neighbor Dennis's '68 Chevelle. He built both of those cars, one for the movies, one for personal use. This is another one of his personal cars that we're shooting today. That's right, this '57 Chevy, and it's just cool, man. And the story behind this car is so great. I love the story behind this car. You guys know I like pretty much it's modded cars, right? Always either customs or radically modified cars. This is actually close to a stock car. So why are we shooting close to a stock car? Well, for one, it's just gangster looking and it's got a great story behind it. So we're gonna do our usual thing, man. Talk through some of the details on it, take it for a little drive. And I'm gonna tell you guys a really cool story behind this car. This is a story for every 16-year-old kid that dreamed of a car. So hold on, because here we go. All right, you guys, well, here we go for a cruise in Dennis's '57 Chevy. Now, I'm not big on this era of cars, so I actually called my dad, who knows these well. In '57, we all know the Bel Air. That's probably the one we see the most. Then there's, in the middle, this car, the 210. And then the lower model one would be the 150. Dollar amount on this? Not a big dollar car. This car, you could buy this thing for under 50 grand. You guys know typically I'm dealing in heavily modified or complete custom cars. This one's not heavily modified. As a matter of fact, other than a couple of things, like the car has headers, it has an exhaust, but mild. I mean, it's not loud. And the rear end's been narrowed, which made room for put a bigger tire on the car. But other than that, it's a stock 283, man. You'll see me shifting down here on the floor. That's the last thing that was changed on this. This is the newest piece on this car, this transmission, which came out of a '67 Corvette. So this car, as it sits right now, could have been completed in 1967. Now I'm driving it super easy because if you guys saw in a previous episode, I drove Dennis's '68 Chevelle, and I did a good handful of burnouts in it. He gave me trouble later for not doing hard enough burnouts. This one, he said specifically, do not do burnouts in, and here's why. The guy he bought this car off of narrowed the rear end and did it in a little bit of a wonky way. He cut the axle, narrowed it, and then welded it back together. So Dennis has warned me that if I did any kind of hard pull in this, there's a good chance the rear end might come right out of the car. So, being respectful to my friend Dennis, we're gonna be cruising nice and easy. So, that's the simple of this car, right? '57 Chevy, 283 fuel injected car. You got the 4-speed transmission, which is nice. It's nice to have the 4-speed. But like I said, overall, pretty simple car, right? Now, here's what I love about this car. You know, most old cars, when you start digging in, what you get is a really super cool story. This car has a great story to it. My neighbor Dennis used to work at a shop when he was 16 years old. It's a shop that's no longer in business here in the valley. They used to be a dyno shop. And he said the guy that lived up behind the shop owned this car. And Dennis used to see this car all the time, and he wanted it. He just always thought it was so cool. So cut to a few years ago, Dennis finds out this car, the one he's wanted since he was 16 years old, not just like it, the car, this one that I'm sitting in driving right now, came up for sale, and Dennis bought it. So I love that he got a car that he's wanted since he was 16 years old, man. And this thing drives great. I gotta admit, this is my first time ever driving a 57 Chevy. And this is the iconic 57 Chevy. This is such an American classic. And I'm tripping out driving it. I love it. And Dennis got this car. He said it was, as you see, other than the interior wasn't in the car yet, but the interior actually came with the car. And I gotta tell you, I love this interior. This is a stock interior on that mid-50s Chevy. I mean, how cool is this? And it's amazing to me to think of how far technology's come. For one, I mean, this gigantic steering wheel, look at all the play, right? I'm getting no movement up front and that wheel's moving a bunch. You know, the simplicity of it. There's no tack in here. It's just a big, gigantic Speedo. I mean, you got temperature gauge, you got fuel gauge, and you got a Speedo and a couple of red lights. This is as raw as it gets, man. This is a simple car. But I also thought it'd be fun, you know, I'm trying to show you guys a variety of vehicles that I'm around, vehicles that I find passion for. And this is one, tell you the truth, it's funny, I've always seen Dennis pulling this thing in and out of the complex. And it's just cool, man. I've always thought this was a really, just a bitchin' car. This is like, I don't know, it's so reminiscent of a time that's long gone in our history. You gotta appreciate the simplicity and the beauty of this car. It's drum brakes, manual steering. I like it. I think this is bitchin'. And my goal is to try to show you guys as much cool stuff as I can possibly get my hands on. Hell, half the fun is when we shoot, typically I do this. I drive around in something that I think is really cool and talk to you guys about it. Anyways, you guys, that's my cruise in Dennis's 57 Chevy. And I promise we'll keep showing you guys all kinds of stuff. This is just one variation. Well, that is it for Dennis's 57 Chevy. Just a great car, man. That's a gangster looking car. That's what that car looks like, man. That looks like a gangster car to me. Just cool. I love the simplicity of it. I love the history of it. Great story. I love that this is a car Dennis wanted, this exact car, since he was 16 years old. And just a few years ago, he got it. Very cool, man. Dennis, thanks for letting me use it. I love it, dude. Love that we get to show people your cars because you got some cool ones. Anyways, you guys, thanks for hanging. Thanks for watching and supporting the channel, helping us to grow it. Keep spreading the word, man, because it's growing and I appreciate it, truly. So that's it for today. I'll see you guys in the next episode. All right, man. Later.